Hello everyone. My name is Mini Brivedi Gopinathan. I am the founder of PlayStreet, Bangalore, India. I'm an RDI consultant, OPT and a feeding therapist, an AAC program creator, and an Access Pass facilitator. PlayStreet is an organization that provides educational services to help the child with special needs become independent and live up to their potential. We offer parent empowerment programs and integrated schooling programs and a variety of clinical services. As April is Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month, we wanted to bring to you the pioneers in the field of autism to guide us all and spread more awareness and knowledge. Today is our fifth talk, and our fantastic speaker for today is Miss Reena Singh. Reena is a holistic occupational therapist and the founder of Khushi Therapy Center in Mumbai, India. He believes that the mind and body are connected and sees challenges from a whole person perspective. He combines complementary therapies and integral health techniques in the practice of occupational therapy to help her clients at a deeper level. She believes that balance is an integral part of wellness and that alignment of body, mind, and spirit is the key to helping ourselves and our kids. She works with neurodiverse kids and their families for the last 21 years. She's also an author of Amazon's best-selling book, Little Parenting Guru, and another one, Looking Beyond Labels, Becoming a Mindful Parent. Her strength lies in blending her role as a parent and a therapist to offer the best practical strategies to support families come to her. Today, she's talking on effectiveness of emotional freedom techniques for family and children with autism. Reena, thank you so much for agreeing to join us for PlayStreet's Autism Power today. We are honored to have you here.
I'm honored to be here with you today.
Would you like to say a word to our viewers?
I got the brochure which Minnie sent me, and you are all going to learn a lot. It's a lot of effort put by them because every day 1 hour, it's going to be a lot. So make the most of it. It's awesome, and congratulations to you for getting your ideas into execution.
Thank you, Reena. So I'm going to start with my first question. What is emotional freedom technique? And what made you, an occupational therapist, believe in trying EFT for your clients?
So emotional freedom techniques is based on energy psychology, and it combines tapping on certain meridian endpoints. Meridians are energy highways, which comes from traditional Chinese medicine. So it combines the modern talk therapy of psychology with meridian tapping, and it helps to rewire the challenges or the difficulties that we have, or the trauma, the emotional trauma, and it rewires, it changes, we see things from a different perspective. It is very, very, very helpful. It looks very simple, but it is very, very helpful. I was very skeptic in the beginning when I heard about EFT. I just went for it just because I wanted to learn something about meridians. And when she just started tapping and tapping and tapping on these specific points, I wondered, I mean, I first thought she would tap on me, and then she was tapping on herself, and she said, you start doing it on yourself. And we did go through, I did all my trainings for EFT, and I was getting benefited. I learned a lot, but I had my skeptic antennas up all the time till I started seeing gains because of EFT when I blended it into my practice. So it looks very simple. You may feel skeptic, but immensely powerful, and I find that it adds a lot of value to the kids and their families when I incorporate it in my therapy sessions.
How did you come across EFT?
EFT, so actually, two factors led me there. One was when I was doing my rhythmic movement training course, and I was learning it with Moira Dempsey. She just said, and we were learning a reflex called fear paralysis reflex, okay, so which is an intrauterine reflex. And she said, anyone wants to come and become a volunteer? I volunteered. I was like, I know it all. I am all integrated, complete, perfect being, that's what I thought. And I went there, I lied on that massage table. Moira was on her chair and she touched certain points. And when she did those, she was just explaining that, and she just kept her finger very gently, as much as I would put it on my eyeball. So it was very gentle touch. And I started feeling uncomfortable. Earlier, initially I thought, okay, it's okay, let me, I want to respect her. I volunteered, let me go, and it's okay, I said. But those experiences started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I could see flashes of my childbirth. It became so big. I was getting really overwhelmed, and I lost my cool, polite, whatever, that Reena just went away somewhere in the background, and the other Reena came in. Moira, just take your hand off. I'm not liking it. She said, what happened? I said, I'm not liking it. Something is going wrong in me. She's like, what is happening? I said, I don't know. And I was literally, I was not, I was literally shouting. I was very impolite. I was very bad. She said, okay. So she kept her hand here and she moved it away. She moved a chair away. But the hand still was there. I couldn't see it like this, but I could feel it. And I said, you've still not taken your hand away. And all the participants said, Reena, she's taken her hand away. Trust her. I said, no, there's something wrong. And I remember immediately after that, and all the people, this was in Malaysia when I was learning. So there was no one, Indian. I know I wanted someone Indian, there is this thing that I wanted to connect to, and I was like, oh God, I'm feeling so uncomfortable. I wanted to share this with somebody, and nobody was there. Moira said, you'll be fine. But then my stomach started churning, and I felt, oh God, I need to puke. I need to go to the washroom. I used the washroom more than 30 times. So something really went bad within me, is what I thought. So that's all what happened. And she explained about the fear paralysis reflex. She spoke a little bit about meridians and other things. And I was like, meridians, what are these? I want to learn more about them. And when I came back to India, I started like I'm like a voracious caterpillar, wanting to eat as much knowledge as I can. So I was like, what is this EFT? What is these meridians? And I read EFT and I said, oh, meridians. Anything that talks about meridians, I'm going to go and learn. In fact, I also learned pranic healing because they talk about meridians and chakras and all of it. I did access bars. I did like everything. But what really resonated with me was EFT, because I saw that I had my, what you call, my trauma child. I was born premature. I had not cried immediately after birth. I was a very low birth weight baby. I was born at home, and when my mom used to tell me this as a young girl, I used to feel, wow, everybody comes crying. I didn't cry. I was like the proud one. But then I realized that I did go through a lot of trauma, and I was not wanted as a girl child. Maybe there were thoughts or whatever. See, there was a lot of trauma that my mom was going through, because I had an elder sister. She was maybe scared that what if it's a girl, if it's not a boy or whatever. And that all of those messages maybe went into me. I really don't know what it was, but I was not comfortable basically. And I relived those flashes that I saw in Moira's session. I could see this entire movie while I was doing EFT, when I was going through hypnotherapy and I was learning more about myself. So there was a lot of trauma of my mom, and my earlier years of parenting were, because see, I was a daughter finally. Daughters, I was not wanted. I was wanted, but if I was a boy. So, there was a lot of verbal abuse, and there was a lot of stuff that I went through as a child, which, I don't know, it maybe that time impacted me, but I kind of, we cover ourselves with whatever. So I had my stuff, and I love my mom a lot when I say this. She did her best with whatever she knew back then. But she was also trying to cope. I was trying to cope, and I had all that trauma which was saved in me, which is something that I think I was passing on to my child unknowingly. Even though I had 12 years of experience as an occupational therapist, when my child had behavioral issues coming up, I thought they were some primitive reflex which was unintegrated. I thought, then I checked, I did sensory integration. I took him to a developmental pediatrician. They said nothing is wrong. And I was like, I'm trained in all of these. And if there's nothing wrong in all of these, then what's the problem? They said, you have anxiety. You need to work on anxiety. And I was like, okay, but how? What do I do with myself? What do I do? And I realized, I started becoming aware that I was throwing a lot of toxic vomit of my frustration on my child. Like right now I'm speaking so nice and polite, but I was like I was a monster with my child. I was very bad. But okay, I was also doing my best. And then when I learned a lot through EFT, I worked on myself. I healed my inner child, which wasn't trauma. That trauma was frozen in me. And when I did EFT, I could unfreeze and find my real self and whole self again. And now, when I could do that, I could parent my child from wholeness and not from brokenness. That helped my child with his behavioral issues, and that was a big boon. And that's when I realized, oh my God, if my child who's just had whatever little bit of my trauma, what about other kids who have so many other things? And that's why I started integrating it into my practice. I started seeing shades of that emotional trauma which are in all of us as mothers or fathers, which we unknowingly, we don't do it consciously, but if we bring it to a conscious awareness, we can work on ourselves. And when we work on ourselves, we stop that, what you call that cycle, like my mom passed on to me, I was passing on to my son, and if I wouldn't break it, then my son would pass it on, to his offsprings. I hope that answers your question.
Very much. And what you have shared is such an eye opener. So it's not that the trauma which we see, which we feel, and which we understand is just the trauma.
Yeah.
What you are telling me, the way I'm understanding it, is that trauma actually is intergenerational too, right? And
Quite a lot. It is. Sorry. It is intergenerational. Yes, it is. Because now, I want to also share when my nanny passed away, who's my grandmom, my mom's mom, and she had so many wishes and dreams and all, which she didn't fulfill. So her frustration went on my mom. My mom's things which were not fulfilled came on to me, and I was passing it on my child. So it is actually intergenerational, and it requires a lot of awareness to love your own self. Like, today if I think, okay, I was so bad with my child, I was like a monster, preaching the world what they should do, and I was bad, but I was doing my best. Self-compassion is what is needed the most, to ourselves. Then we can pass it on to others.
I'm just in awe of the words which you just said now, and I'm already feeling your words. I'm able to relate to those words. And we just keep on accumulating these traumas, and we don't realize that how much it is affecting us, our relationships, and our entire life.
And as you mentioned, we keep accumulating traumas. So when I say that it was all that came from my mother, I won't say it was only from my mother. That those can come under big T traumas, which we call it. But there are so many small T traumas. Oh my God, my bus is coming, my child's bus. Oh, I have to brush his teeth. Oh, he has to be in school. Oh, he's not performing. Oh, he's not sitting. What if the teacher says this? There are so many small T traumas that we are exposed to on an everyday basis, everyday basis. So yeah, they keep accumulating. So it's not just what you call uterine and perinatal and childhood. It keeps coming till we find awareness, and we keep healing ourselves on a daily basis. Like how we take a bath every day. We tell ourselves, it's okay, you were good. I'm proud of you, Reena, I'm very good. That's what is needed, I feel, on a daily basis.
And the way I'm seeing it, that once we get a diagnosis in the family, traumas, even at a subconscious or at an unconscious level, we keep on accumulating them without realizing. So I think for families with special this technique, emotional freedom technique, the way you have explained it to me, I find a lot of value in it. I think it's just a good day for us to learn that. Let's go ahead with the other questions. I'm so excited. How do you integrate your work with EFT? Is it a separate program or do you combine it with the OT session?
You know, I mean, I work a lot intuitively. So I just see what is needed where and when. I have learned so many techniques, yes, but they've become all like, they've got blended in me that whatever that I want just comes out. And I think that's true for all of us, the right thing comes out. So sometimes I would blend it in the course of the session because, sometimes the child is very angry. I remember I made the child sit on a swing, because what we do is majorly therapy with sensory integration and stuff like that. So I made the child sit on the swing and the child went like, I was like, Reena auntie, I'm really scared. Look at my shoulders. They are so tight. I really want to relax. I don't know how to. This swing is making me feel really scary. Auntie, help me. So I talk. I mean, there's a lot of body awareness talk. I do a lot of talking because that's what actually the child is feeling. And when we provide, and I'm not even expecting, I mean, I'm not a speech therapist, I'm not expecting that the child speaks it and repeats it and answers it. No, I feel what we need is that the child feels understood, that I understand that you're not comfortable. That's all that the child needs to understand. And if my words don't convey it enough, my body language, my facial expressions, my tone of voice, my hand gestures would convey it to the child. So I use it while it's happening. And when I make the swing slow and the child feels comfortable and he's like smiling, or I see that at least the face relaxes, and I'm like, auntie, I'm feeling better now. Wow, I'm really enjoying this swing now. I want more. So what I'm trying to tell you is I'm not just talking about what the child wants, but I'm getting into the emotions bit also. And I'm from those emotions, I'm getting into the body because everything. So if I remember if I tell my son, suppose if he comes to me and he says, Mommy, see, I did a cube, and look at, so this is my posture, okay? Mama, look, I did a cube. And I'm like, did you do your homework? I'll do it, Mama. So you see, immediately it affects your posture. Then he will be like, I'll do it, So the eyes, the body, it's always talking to you. So if we bring that, like what you call, if we make it very explicit and we talk, that's what I do. I blend it, I talk about everything, what the child is feeling. That helps. But then, yeah, there are some times when I'm talking to a parent separately, doing a session, because sometimes, the kind of questions that I hear, and I'm not judging here, I'm just sharing. It's like, my child is not listening. He's always throwing tantrums. He's always having a meltdown. So here I am coming as a parent from a perspective that my child is here to trouble me. I'm not seeing the child with empathy. Then that time, I realize that the parent needs her or his space to be heard and understood. When she would or he would get the space to be understood and felt and not judged, then she will be able to offer it to her child. So then that's how we work on. So yeah, sometimes it's a blend, sometimes it's an what you call separately done with the parent, and sometimes I do group EFT sessions where we meet up all together, we take up a topic, something picky eating. Oh, my child is not eating. Oh, it's so irritating. Oh my god, I just spend my full day making him feed. So we work on specific things also.
I'm I'm mesmerized because you have just added another layer to my understanding and knowledge of how to connect with children with their bodies when they're really going through some emotions, say in the sessions or outside the sessions. Um, Thank you, Reena. Thank you for telling me this.
Thank you.
Yes. So let's go to the next question. How do you identify which client would be benefited from EFT? Do you do this for the parents or for the children or for both?
Sometimes earlier, like in the earlier days when I used to work with parents, there were some parents who would give a lot of space to their child. And, like, so they would be like, okay, it's fine, you're comfortable. I could see the tone of their voice, hear the tone of their voice. They would say, okay, remove your shoes. You see, the hands were very smooth, very soft, and they were giving time. And I used to feel, wow, this is what I want. This is what I want the parents to do. And then there were other group of parents who would say, come on, remove your shoes. come on, do it fast. Why are you taking so long? If you see, the tone of voice is fast, the speech is fast, constant instructions, repeating it again and again, because they didn't have the patience, or they were too frustrated every single day doing the same thing. And I used to feel this parent needs it more, and that earlier parent is like, wow, evolved. She doesn't need anything. And I was shocked when these group of parents started coming to me, and I realized everything that looks out on the surface, very peaceful, very patient, is not what is there within. And I have realized that most of us, I wouldn't say, and even if we don't have some big T traumas, all of us would benefit from EFT, because the kind of life that we are living very fast, overscheduled, so many would benefit from EFT. Some would benefit more. Some may need it to maintain their gains. They may be already at that level, but acknowledging what you're feeling, and I think it's like mindfulness. You need to be more mindful of what you're feeling, why you're feeling, what you're doing, why you're doing. So I think that everyone needs it.
So, what are the outcomes you expect from community? And can we get to witness a small 5-minute sample session in the end?
Of
Okay.
course, we can do it. We can.
What are the outcomes do we see when we do this?
Big outcomes that we find. So, see, when I started, ideally EFT is mainly for emotional stuff and all. I'll give you 2, 3 examples, so you'll get an idea about what I found. So, because I work with kids mainly, so there was one parent who came to me, and her son was 9 years old. He was not getting potty trained, okay? And we did EFT for just potty training, okay? I had worked on all my, I'm not saying one method is better than others. It's like whatever works, I would use it, whatever that helps the family. But with this family, I had done sensory integration, I had worked on spinal gallons, spinal peris, moro, fear, paralysis, reflex. Like I had done everything with respect to therapy that I thought would help him with potty training. And we were not, we didn't find any great success. We could find, but not a lot of success. So we then said, let's do work on EFT using. So the mother did the surrogate work for the child, and I thought that I won't be able to do this work online. She did the session with me, we did the surrogate work and all, and just as that session was over, the next day she called me and she said, oh, he's potty trained. He asked that he wants to go to the potty, and I was like, seriously? See, even when I was doing it, I was not believing, huh? So I was like, seriously? And I was like, Reena, wait, let's see for a week or 10 days, and then we'll, like, then you celebrate it, kinds. So week passed by, 10 days, 10 days passed by. Then I again called them up. She said, yeah, of course he's going. She believed in me. Na? I have to believe in myself and my methods. And it's been like, I think 5, 6 years, more than that, and nothing has ever come back. So I have now used it for potty training, oral motor issues, because I find a lot of work that is a lot of stuff that we have emotional ties to it, and those ties need to be cut or viewed or reframed or seen differently by the parent, because the parent's energy is always impacting the child also, always. Parent, the grandparents, everyone impacts the child, especially mother and father, and especially mother, because a lot of time is spent with the child. So when we work with those things, I have worked with kids for potty training, I see that getting better. I see a lot of anxiety in parents settling down. They don't come to me and I'm like, he's not doing it. Now they see behavior and they're like, I know he's doing, it's the same behavior. I'm not saying that you see great changes in behavior specifically suddenly, but they say, yeah, I know he's doing it, but I know that he's doing it for this reason. Because they're compassionate towards themselves, they are able to bring and get that compassion for their kids. They're not getting irritated by those things. I'm not saying that they stay in that state forever. We may need, like today, if I go to the gym and if I work on my muscles, okay, I'm done for life. No, I need every day, So we need to work on it every day. But I see that parents are less anxious. So I've worked on potty training, sleep issues. Some kids, I remember working with one boy who, vestibular input is a major part of sensory integration. And this boy, if I put him on the swing, in fact, before coming into the center, outside, he used to start go, wah, wah. He went on doing that because he was so scared. So we just tapped on that. We just worked on that. And he is now comfortable with, accepting that input. No, it took us time, but 1 year we tried. I used to take my therapy swings outside, like the center that I had at that time had a big ground outside, but nothing was working. Ball, if I take outside, you would puke out. So I see EFT working for every single thing. There's nothing like, so anxiety goes down, a lot of sensory issues, because I feel, yeah, there are many reasons for sensory issues, but the crux and the root of it is because my stress response is triggered. And once I calm the system, every single thing will start calming down. It's that way. It's like if I throw a stone into a pond, the water's still, and when I throw, there are ripples, so it affects every other system. When the water's calm, every other system will start. I won't say it gets better automatically, but it would respond better to the therapeutic interventions later.
Let me come to a little more specific question about ASD. For children with ASD who may have tactile defensiveness and they won't allow you to touch them, how do you go about it?
So tactile defensiveness, I have not used a lot of EFT there. I have used a lot of SI related stuff. But if a child doesn't allow me to touch, the child doesn't find it safe. Safety is the major bit of it. So I would respect that, and I would use the child's own hands if he allows. If that he is also not comfortable, I would use an equipment. If that also he doesn't allow, then I would check out what is the dynamics, at home, what is the relationship between the mother and the child, between the father and the child. Sometimes, so what I'm trying to tell you, there are many, many, many reasons for it, But then, yeah, I would first work on the sensory stuff of it. If that's not helping, I'll try and understand what is the dynamics. Sometimes, that there is a negative history there, what I mean. The tactile defensiveness sensory wise is so there, but then there is a negative history there with respect to touch or whatever, which may need to be identified. So that's what I would do.
What we refer to as episodic memory when I
Episodic memory is a memory which is at least retrievable. I'm talking about implicit memory, which is not even which is implicit, and that is the memory which is in our system before our memory apparatus is formed. You know what I mean? So then so that memory is stored in my body, not in my brain. Like, it's like it's stored in my body as a sensation. So when someone comes close, I feel those jitters or whatever. So there could be an implicit memory there, or there could be something which needs to be specifically understood and evaluated.
And as you explained earlier, it could be intergenerational too, right? Could it be?
I have no idea. It could be. I have no idea. But yeah, as I said, see, when I'm going into, and when I say that, and I'm not specifically referring to tactile defensiveness, but I'm talking about accepting touch as a form of love. You know what I mean? Just accepting those hugs and all. Sometimes if the parent has not, like if I give my example, my mom was not hugged a lot because there were so many kids in those days, the kids, which is like, she was, I think, the third child or the fourth child, and there were 3 other kids after her. So she never loved those hugs and those kisses, and so there was no tactile input that she received as a child, for expression of love. When I was born, I did not receive any of that, and as a parent, as a fathers are not supposed to, as like, at least in our family, it was like, you have to stay away from dads don't touch you and all. That's how it was. So I craved for tactile input. So what I'm trying to tell you is, it depends on what is the kind of cultural impact that your parents have had, and that is how it is being passed on or not being passed on. Some are sometimes even the tactile input, giving too much also is not accepted by some, so there are many, many, many reasons for it,
You mentioned a term surrogate EFT just a while back. Will you be able to help us understand what it is and how to do it?
Surrogate EFT is simply where I tune in, see, I'm also a hypnotherapist, okay? I mean, I have so what do? We put a person into regression, we explain the process well, but then the person tunes into the child's awareness, or whosoever you're doing the surrogate work for.
Okay.
So this particular parent with whom I worked, I told you about the vestibular processing challenges,
Mhm.
and I told the mother, I asked them, I never say that this would work. I asked her, I have this technique, maybe this would help. Do you want to try it out? And she was like, okay, let's do it. And then I told her that you have to, it's like login from somebody else's window or whatever, or a computer. So she said, I will try to tune in, from my child's awareness, and we do that all the time, how my child is feeling, what my child is seeing, what my child is, like how is my child's posture, how is my child breathing, and then with that awareness that the person has, I make the person see that problem of vestibular input. So I said, now I'm putting you on a swing, how do you feel? And she said, I feel these, I'm feeling, Reena ma'am, I'm very uncomfortable. I don't want to feel what he's feeling. I am very, very, very uncomfortable. Just get me out. I said, okay, no problem. And then, we kind of, we finished the session very smoothly. And she said, my God, I now know what my son feels like when he's taking that vestibular input. It doesn't feel good at all. We worked on sleep issues also in that same way. And some parents told me things like, oh God, it doesn't feel comfortable with my eyes closed. It feels like, I lose control of my body. There are like various different observations. And I have my own anecdotal studies where I have seen that surrogate EFT works like magic. With this boy with vestibular issues, it worked like magic. Potty training issues, it worked like magic. Sleep issues, it worked like magic. They tried everything. Meaning, so what I'm trying to convey is, and I wouldn't say only do surrogate, but it's like, you start seeing and understanding what your child is feeling. And so then in future, like, if this mother would have put her son on a swing, now she'll be like, no, 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 this is what he feels. I have to respect that fear, so the approach changes a lot because you get an understanding, not completely, but to some extent. But yeah, with whosoever I've done it, I have seen it has helped.
So is it like if you're doing surrogate EFT and say I'm tapping myself in front of my child, so and my child is able to perceive it, is it due to mirror neurons or it's just some energetic connections?
Surrogate EFT is not because of mirror neurons. It is more because of it's more because you're connecting with the energy field of the body, not mirror neurons. So it's different. Yeah.
So generally, children are taught about emotions, pictures, labels, stories, etc. But we are not sure if children with autism they understand these emotions in the real sense when they are going through it. So how can we help them to regulate themselves at that time? Does EFT help with that?
Immensely. I have worked with a lot of kids, and I would really not agree that they don't understand emotions. They understand every bit of it. They don't have the emotional vocabulary to express it, but they feel it right into their being. I have worked with very little ones to the elder ones, like 20, 21, 25. So like, because I started working in 2000, so the kids who came to me now are like 25, 26 or whatever. So they understand every bit of it. I remember one boy who is doing his 10th standard, and the parents contacted me, and they said, and see, he had stopped coming to me for therapy because there's nothing like autism. I don't know, people believe autism is a lifelong disorder. It is, yeah, of course, but I have seen with a lot of kids, when we work on with them, the symptoms get diluted, and there are many kids who then sometimes do not, they say traits of autism not found or does not fulfill the diagnostic criteria. That happens with many kids. So this boy that I'm talking about did not fulfill the, what you say, ASD traits, because he wanted the autism disability certificate. For 10th you get those concessions, but then he didn't get that because he didn't have those traits, but he did have anxiety that was left. And he told me, the parents contacted me first, and they said, he takes a chair and he hits us with a chair, and he's always saying that he's not well, and he says what he because he's smart enough, so he googles, I'm feeling giddy, so the doctor gives a medication, he checks which medication is this, which patients get it, is it because of autism, so he checks out all of that stuff. So we worked on with this I worked with this boy, and he said he is now appearing, like, for his 10th standard. So this was last year matlab, when he came in 10th standard, and that's when he got appendicitis, and because of that he was in the hospital, and some complications came up, and he missed a complete 1 month of like studies and all. So he said, auntie, I'm getting scared, I don't know what to do, I'm so bad, I'm this, I'm that. There was a lot of negative labels that he was giving to himself because he didn't know what he was feeling. And I said, you know what, I think you're just stressed. We worked on it, that I'm feeling very stressed. I'm really feeling very stressed. And he said, auntie, I feel something here. Oh, I feel it on my chest. I said, what do you feel on your chest? Auntie, I feel as if somebody is pressing it. So I feel a pressure on my chest, and we give what are called subjective units of distress. 0 is like no pressure at all on the chest. 10 is like, lot of pressure. So I said, what number do you feel? Auntie, it's at number 5. So I feel that stress on my chest, the pressure on my chest at number 5. Then what happened? Auntie, it is really increasing. It is increasing. The more I talk about it, it is increasing. And then I say, oh, my body is responding. And see, and then I would go on and on and on and on. And then the subjective unit of distress starts going down. He understood, oh, the pressure was because of anxiety. And we worked on it, and he started understanding that whenever this anxiety starts building, after it goes into a rage, he used to throw those chairs and all. But we worked on it so much that he realized that I could target. He was just said, do your prayers, meditate, go for a walk, that would help you. But then nobody was trying to, he didn't find his expression there, to the point that this boy also told me. So we worked on all of these things. Okay, we worked on his anxiety. He got settled. He was not getting aggressive. He's a big boy, 15-year-old throwing chair and all would be, it's not accepted, and he doesn't look, and if I would tell him, he says, auntie, I sometimes still feel like doing this. So I said, so what stops you? No, everyone will feel I'm so different, but that helps me to calm down. So I said, okay, so I feel they have a lot of awareness. I said, why do you want to not do it in front of others? I don't want to look different. I want to be like everyone else. So there's a lot of what I say, they understand emotions completely. But with this same boy this is one example. I've worked like with so many boys and girls who are like, they are now, like anxious because there was this emotional trauma. I remember, so this same boy, I want to give you this example. So he was once left by his mom to his auntie's place, okay, just because she had to go to office or something happened, and he said, auntie had hit me here. Now this boy is 15-year-old. This was when he was 6 years old. Auntie had hit me here. Now she'd hit me here. I didn't like it. I said, okay, what happened? I didn't like it. I want to hit her. So then we tapped on it. Even though that event happened many years back, I still feel the pain. I still feel uncomfortable in my body. Then we ask him, where do you feel it in your body? And so what I'm trying to tell you is, old events were also frozen in him, which we had to unfreeze. And now I think we just took 5 or 6 sessions, and he was able to start studying because of all these thoughts. No, he said, auntie, thoughts keep coming. I can't study, I can't focus. And because he was not studying, the portion went on increasing. So it was like a cycle, so they understand every bit of it. I've worked with the little ones also. They also understand. These young adults, they also understand. So they understand it, and as it happens, as we label it for them. If I talk about a very younger one, like as I said, very little one, so if the child is crying, when I say, come on, let's do your work, people call it like attention seeking behavior, whereas actually what the child wants is to connect with you, wants that love, wants that attention in a positive way. I mean, we also want that. I won't say attention seeking behavior to that. Then I would say, if I'm talking to a parent like this, and if a child comes in between and pulls mummy, then I say, mama, how long are you going to talk to this auntie? I am feeling left out. I am so bored. Mama, how much more time? So I would talk whatever the child is feeling. And I feel when we label the feeling, when it is happening, they remember it, they understand it. Oh, this what I feel in my body is called this. Oh, so then that's how we build on the emotional vocabulary. I use a lot of, like how when we get a house painted, we get those shade cards. You get pink and peach and orange and peach and all. So that way I talk to kids about the shades of emotions, that, I'm happy now. I'm excited. Oh my God, I can't contain my happiness. So I'm actually like, and I'm not doing it like, okay, this is what it is. I tell parents to do it when it is happening, because then when you spotlight it, it registers better. You register it not just by a word that somebody's told you, but this is how it feels in my body. And then we talk about it. What happened? How are you feeling it in your body? I remember working with an 8-year-old, very little girl, okay, very little. The parents came to me, she's not studying, she's not paying attention. She also has a diagnosis of autism. I worked with her and I said, imagine, now she doesn't have what you call a lot of language, but when I worked with her, she said, I said, can we tap? She's like, okay, mama does not love me. Dada does not love me. I said, why do you say that? What makes you feel? And again, if you see, we never contradict. No, no, dada loves you. Don't say, we never do that. We flow with what the child is feeling. And I said, oh, I wonder what makes you feel that. And she said, because mama's always on the phone. Mama's always on the calls. And on the computer. She loves computer more than me. And I said, what about daddy? Mama, I have given up on mummy, but daddy still loves me this much, but daddy loves me. And I said, so when they do like this, how do you feel? I feel bad. So I said, you feel unloved? You feel you're not important? I want to feel I'm important. I want to feel I'm loved. And when I don't feel that, I start getting angry. I start doing things. She used to actually throw her dad's phone. And I said, what? I don't understand why you did that. She said, if there was a lock and a safe, I would just lock it up and give it to him only at night. So, what I'm trying to tell you is they understand. They understand emotions.
Absolutely, yes. I have a question here that as as we just discussed that yes, our children understand. But I've also seen some children where these anxieties or the meltdowns or the tantrums are cyclic, either say because of the effect of the lunar cycles or because of their own hormonal cycle. I would like to ask you that, and this is deep down. It's not getting triggered because of some incident, but it is biological. So, can EFT help such cases? I mean, such beautiful children.
It can definitely help when it is also along with the medical thing. Like what I mean is the medical attention or the whatever help that's needed for that particular condition needs to be done along, and we can do EFT. And then over a period of time, the medications are weaned off. I've done it with a lot of parents and kids. Have done it, that they were on medications for like 8, 8, 9 9 years. It took us a lot of time to wean off, but we worked with the medical doctor and they were the ones who were guiding. I think the child is stable, we'll wean off, we'll taper off. And then with the EFT alone, and then later on they didn't need anything. They were able to manage. And they were able to manage because the environment in which they were also has to be ready. Mom was now comfortable, dad was now comfortable, so their what you call emotional well-being was in place. So then these tantrums or meltdowns or whatever you want to call it, dysregulation, was accommodated not as like a label, oh again it goes, or it's like, I wonder why are you doing it, I wonder did I do something or whatever. So they come from a place of not like, oh it happens only to me, oh why me. They don't go into victim mode, but they come out of it because they worked on their own selves and now they see it differently. So yeah, it does help immensely, but what I mean is it has to be combined with many other things together.
Really
Yes.
gives us a lot of hope when I hear this. And you also mentioned that about the child who didn't have much language, but still she was talking something, right? Right. Um, what about children those are non-speakers? For them, speech is not the main modality, and they do not have enough motor planning or the speech capability. So how do you
Yeah,
help them?
I use a lot of cards. I make a lot of cards, and we make those cards as the happy emotions are, they go into circles, like all circles maybe of red color. or whatever. I mean, every parent does it differently, but we have cards and we use them whenever the child feels something.
Okay.
In fact, even when we are verbal, even if we are verbal rather, uh, many kids still, even like people like me, if I'm very angry, all of us, I think we do that. I would resort to typing and sending a message rather than talking, like, because that seems more doable, because in that rage or in that overwhelm of emotion, it's difficult to use the cognition to organize your thoughts. So I recommend a lot of cards even to kids who are talking, and this boy that I spoke about, who's in his 10th, who can speak and articulate so well, we did start with cards. So there were cards everywhere, and he said, but auntie, when I'm very angry, I don't know what to say. I said, no problem, the cards would be there on your cupboard, we put it right on the cupboard or inside the cupboard. If they don't want, like, they don't want anyone to see it, they have that much of awareness. So I said, it'll be there inside, you check out what you're feeling, go and give it to mama, that's okay. I remember working with a boy. He moved away to Canada now, but we were, and he's verbal, not fully verbal, but he's like, he can say food, like, one word is what he can say. So he wanted to go to the toilet. Now this is what the mom shared with me, and I was very proud, because earlier we started with him with cards, and he wanted to go to the toilet and he was holding it for so long. He was in the classroom, and the teachers, there were two teachers in the class. It was a special needs class, because he's still, like, he was not in the, what you call, mainstream. So those two teachers were talking. He went on. He stood there. Actually, he didn't say. He could have spoken, but he didn't say. He can speak, but he didn't speak. So he stood there, stood there, stood there. The teachers were busy talking, not on purpose, but maybe they were busy genuinely. So he went. He got that card of toilet. He got the card of sad. He put it on the table and he went to the toilet. And the mom said. Actually, the mom called me that same night, and she said, the teachers were shocked that he was actually wanting to go to the toilet, and because we were not listening, he was sad. So he conveyed what he wanted. And every single child, I feel, can use a card or a sign. I remember working with a boy, and this was one of my very, very, what you call, this child is my biggest teacher, I would say, because he was 11 years old at that time. He had seizures which were uncontrollable. They were on medications, they were trying the best, and he was on medications. But in those days, that was in 2004 sometime, in a 1 hour session that I would work with the child, he would get a fit, like he would just go like this every 10 minutes. So it was so difficult. Everything that we would teach him, he used to like this way, And I remember working with this boy, and he had learned 10 signs. And I'm not talking about Macaton signs, or I don't know any of those, but some way by which he could tell that I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I want to go to the toilet, and he could do that. I have not followed up with them, but at least in those two years that I worked with him, he was using the signs. His mom said, even if he wants to go to the toilet, we just taught him just this, because if you touch, that is easier. Things in the air are very difficult for a child with autism. So we just did this, So every time he wanted to go, this was biscuit. So he said biscuit, chocolate, food, everything. He would just do this. So instead of having a tantrum, he would just do this, not very clearly, but every time he did this. And this is something that I would always teach every child, like finished, over, or I would have a break card, because most of the times the tantrums or dysregulation is because the child doesn't want to do it, or it's too difficult. So I used to teach finished. So every child, when the kids didn't know how to talk, they used to hold my hand, like, my hands, and they would do finish to me, that, it's done for me, I don't want to continue. So I would use signs if motor planning is, like, if I can do a little bit of it, but if not, I would use cards, and I would talk, I would still talk about emotions. They do understand.
I will move to the next question. In children with neurodevelopmental difficulties, especially autism, they have a poor sense of competence. So they just feel that they can't do it, because I think that's what the world has made them to believe. They start getting the poor sense of competence. So can EFT help them to believe more in themselves, develop intrinsic motivation, and encourage to try more?
EFT cannot help, I think, directly. Yeah, we can do some affirmations and we can say, I am good, I am well behaved, I'm amazing. I can do a lot of all of that. But it's like if this house is dirty, I need to first clean it. Then I can add up something. So if there's a lot of low self-esteem, low confidence, also not just because others tell them, but in kids with autism, there is the connections between what you're thinking and what you want to do is not like the child may think something, may want to do it, but it's not happening because of the wiring within, which is not helping them do it, that doesn't give them the coordination. So it could be because of the internal, and yeah, of course external also to some extent. So what I'm trying to convey is, yeah, EFT can help, but a lot of, I feel, SI, a lot of support from parents is important, because I have seen, sometimes there are skills that a child can't do. I'm so sure the child can't do, but because you believe in the child so much, he will do it. I want to give an example. I made one set of blocks with a child, and this was like again in the early days, and this boy, I put a brown block, blue block, green block, or whatever, and I said copy it. I made a simpler one rather, and his mom said, no, Reena, he can do better than this. This is too simple for him. And I was like, look at her. She feels her son can do it. That was what I thought. But she said, I know he can do it. I know. Wait. So I said, please come. I wanted to actually see and learn from her. So she came and she's like, Rohan, see, this is what Reena Auntie's made, and I want you to do it. I know it's going to be very difficult, and I know you want to like move around, because and all the time when she's talking, this boy is like this boy is constantly moving, he's like this, he's not even looking at his mother, and I was like, he's not even looking, like, see, I was very young at that time, 3-4 years of experience. I didn't know that they actually understand. And he went on, and something like this he went on doing. He would, while she was talking, he would stand up and jump on his tiptoes and then again sit down. She said, I know you're doing all of it, but I know that you can do this. We have tried it at home. She was very soft, and her tone was not, it was like, I believe in you and I know you can do it. And she made that puzzle much complex than what I gave her. Puzzle nahi, blocks, and this boy did the design all wrong, and I was so sure this had to happen. How can he do? He has such poor motor planning. I don't think he can do. She didn't give up. She was like, you know what, Rohan, I know you're not paying attention right now. I know you can do better. And all this time that she's talking, he's jumping, he's doing all of this. After that, he finished the entire thing, So what I feel is, because she believed in him, he could do it. So I feel, if we are believing in them, and of course EFT would help, like, what I'm trying to tell is, if I give that kind of an environment and then I do EFT, yes, it would help. But only doing EFT alone, not really. I mean, so it has to be combined with other things, and the mother believing in the child, I have seen, mother especially, of course fathers, but in the earlier 3, 4, 5 years of age, if you say, I believe in you, and the words that I would want to say every night to my child is, I just love you the way you are. You are the most awesome child. I am blessed. And I just love you. This is what, if I can keep telling my child, it helps them immensely.
That's a great learning. So most of the therapy approaches are trying to fix the disability, right? And that's what we as parents are also looking for, the solutions, like that can fix the disability. So how is EFT different from this approach, and how is it a different approach? For example, because I'm an RDI consultant, I will talk about RDI. RDI looks at developing the relationship with the child instead of fixing them. So does EFT also do the same?
Yeah, so because EFT would be, as I told you about these examples earlier, if the child is angry, I'm not saying and trying to fix, no, you shouldn't be angry. You should study. You should, I'm not shoulding on the child. I'm not doing that. What I'm doing is I'm meeting the child where he is, and I'm like, I know you're angry. I acknowledge, and I know that the child is not who, the behavior is not the child, behavior is just the manifestation. There's someone deeper within. So EFT is about seeing the child at the core and then holding the hand, because when you feel understood and received, changes would happen on its own. So it's not about fixing the child, definitely not. because child is whole as he is whenever he is. If you see that way, so even I need fixing, and I've been working on fixing myself since the last so many years, and I don't think I'll get fixed till I die. So we are all a work in progress, and if someone gives us that acceptance and acknowledges our strengths, because even if I'm imperfect in whatever way, I still have my strengths. So I'm not talking about fixing, and EFT is not about fixing. It's about meeting the child where he is, acknowledging the emotion, and helping the child to feel competent and loved and valued the way he is. Yes.
How is EFT related to the polyvagal theory? Is it related?
Okay.
Yeah.
So polyvagal theory is more about Dr. Stephen Porges' theory. System has three, what you call, three states, the dorsal vagal state, the ventral vagal state, and the sympathetic state. Okay, these are the three states that they talk about. In EFT, when we are tapping on these points, the specific endpoints, okay, what we are actually doing is, so before I get into this, the sympathetic state is a state where the child is like, too much energy, hyperactive, running around, jumping around, thinking fast, talking fast, doing fast. That's sympathetic. Fight, flight response. That's what is sympathetic. And ventral vagal is where I am right now. I want to connect with you. I want to talk to you. I want to give you eye contact. I want to use my facial muscles. And if you're somewhere else, I'll use even my neck muscles to orient to you. That's my ventral vagal state. Sympathetic state, as I told you, is all about energy, 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 over energy, which is very, what you call, it's not a very channelized energy, that's what is sympathetic. And the dorsal vagal is, which is frozen, the frozen state, where the child is frozen. And some kids who are just, you would see looking out of the window, just looking at the trees, you keep calling them, they say, oh, they seem to be into their own world. So these are the three states that we all keep moving, it's like a ladder. On top would be the ventral vagal, the connected state, then it's the sympathetic, and lowest rung would be the frozen state. When we are in this overwhelm of emotions, we go into fight flight because the ventral vagal system goes offline, and so the sympathetic system or the dorsal vagal come to save us. That is when, if I tap on my points, which I tap on the meridian endpoints, it sends a calming signal to the amygdala, which is my alarm, TD, 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 which tells me there's some danger, and everybody, my, what you call, dorsal vagal, the freeze state and the fight flight come to save me. But when I do this, it helps to send that calming signal, and it helps me to restore and come back to that ventral vagal state. So it is one of the ways by which I can get back to my ventral vagal state.
Okay. So now we come to our last question before we actually do a sample session. So, advice would you give parents who get lost into the doing of any program? Should parents be more aware and also understand how to be with their child and integrate the effects of the program into functional life so that they can manage their as well as child's emotions better? How can they?
Yeah, because we are human beings. We are beings. We are supposed to just be with our kids. We're not human doings. So doing is not our state. That's not our home state. And when we are in a doing state, we are not connecting with a child. And if you're not connecting with a child, we're missing out a lot of stuff. This moment, if it's gone, it's gone. So yeah, bringing in that awareness and just being with the child, being with whatever the child is doing. And if we are interested in the child would, the options approach or the RDI or the floor time or whatever, it's about be with your kids. And the simplest concept is, if I don't even talk about all these interventions, it's like, because we're human beings, we are supposed to be with each other. As I was telling, I want to share this. Like, see, when I was little, my nanny used to give me the head massage, because she was being with me. She was actually doing the head massage, but she used to be with me, Reena, this happened, Reena, that happened, and then, that happened, and this happened. She used to be just talking. She was not even bothered if I'm listening, not listening, but it was all going into my subconscious. She was being with me, which helps a lot, as opposed to going to a parlor and getting a head massage or getting an urban clap person to come home and do it. They're doing it on me, and I feel, oh, she's just doing her job. I am somebody on which she has to do. I'm like a product or a, like I'm. It doesn't feel good, basically. When someone is with you, you feel you are important, and that's why they want to be with you. You are valuable. You're precious to them. That relationship really makes you feel it. It touches you on so many levels. So I think it's very important to be with your child. Of course, you have to do things also, but if I can give preference to being with my child's state and aligning with my child's emotions and then doing the tasks, I think it would really add a lot of quality. It would make you feel good in the parenting journey. As in, many parents tell me, I was earlier just working with my child, now I'm enjoying being a parent. So you will actually taste the flavor of being a parent, if you're with your child and you're being with your child. Yeah.
That's the most important message, because somewhere when we are raising a child with autism or any other developmental ability, just gets lost in the doing, and we are not able to enjoy the relationship, and we are not able to enjoy the parenthood. And somewhere we snatch away the child's childhood also, right? Their being of a child.
And we don't do it knowingly. So if yeah, I mean, I just want everyone who's listening to know that if you've done it, don't worry, all of us do it. If you get that awareness and if you work on yourself, the repair will deepen the relationship even more. So it is okay. You know, just just get better with awareness, and even if there's a rupture, you can repair it again. It's okay. Repair will deepen it for you and for the child also, you know.
So, Reena, we are done with the questions. And now you
Great.
tell us, what shall we do next?
Whatever. You want me to do tapping? You want me to do tapping on what topic do you want me to do? Give me some topic that you want me to do. Pardon me?
We lost you. We lost you. We couldn't hear you. Can you repeat what you said?
I was saying we tapping on that you've just received diagnosis of autism and you're trying to make peace with it. Yeah, is that okay?
Yes. So,
Let's do it.
do I need to take my glasses off?
No, you can keep them on. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. So we'll tap on that you've received a diagnosis and you're still trying to make peace and trying to accept the diagnosis. It takes time. It doesn't just happen. Sometimes it takes like a month or a year, or sometimes even up to 10 years. It doesn't come immediately. So we can tap on that and we can see how that helps. Usually when we tap on the karate chop point, which we call it. We tap on the right side or the left side, it doesn't matter. We can tap together, it doesn't matter, whatever that suits you. We tap at the beginning of the eyebrow, that's the next point. We tap at the end of the eyebrow, third point. Okay. We tap on the cheekbone, that's the next point. Under the nose is the next point. Under the lower lip is the next point. Under this collarbone, so that's the point here that I tap on. And then over here, which is at the level of bra strap or around say 10 inches from the armpit. So that's where we tap upon. There are finger points also, but we'll just do the face points today because otherwise I'll have to keep getting my hand closer to the camera. So we'll just tap there. What I want everyone who's listening to is see that, this feeling of having received a diagnosis of autism, how does that feel in your body? What do you feel in your body? What do you feel that is it, label the feeling, just write it down somewhere. Are you still in shock? Are you still angry about it? Are you still in denial, like, no, not me, or whatever? Whatever emotion that comes to your mind, just put that emotion. And on a scale of 0 to 10, so 0 is like you're absolutely fine, that it's okay, I'm fine, even if my child has a diagnosis. 10, I'm not comfortable with the diagnosis. Why did this happen to me? So that I would, 10 is that number. So you could just put your number, whatever number that you are at, and just label the emotion, whatever that you're feeling. and we will start tapping. So I would be tapping on myself, and Minnie, if you could repeat what I'm saying, okay, and I would leave fill in the blanks, and you could fill in your emotion or wherever you're feeling it in your body. So that would help me to do it. Yes.
Yeah.
So we always start from the karate chop point, okay, and we tap over here three times meaning for three statements. So if you could just repeat after me, even though
Even though,
I feel, so I'm going to use my emotion, you could use whatever that you feel, okay. Even though I feel shocked
even though I feel shocked
after receiving this diagnosis
after receiving this diagnosis,
of autism. I don't know what is autism.
I don't know what is autism.
No one had it in our family.
One had it in our family.
I really don't know what that means.
I really don't know what that means.
But I have received this diagnosis,
Yeah, but I have received this diagnosis,
and I'm trying to make peace with my situation right now.
trying to make peace with my situation right now.
Even though
Even though
I'm shocked,
I'm shocked,
I have no words.
I have no words.
I don't know what happens now to my life.
I don't know what happens now to my life.
I don't know what would happen to my child's life.
I don't know what will happen to my child's life.
I don't know if I would be guided and helped along the way.
I don't know if I will be guided or helped along the way.
There are more questions than answers,
There are more questions than answers,
but I choose to take it one day at a time
but I chose to take it one day at a time,
and one step at a time.
one step at a time.
Even though
Even though
this diagnosis of autism
this diagnosis of autism
has shaken my entire world,
has shaken my entire world,
and I feel this feeling of helplessness, or whatever that feeling you feel, you could label it,
I feel the feeling of helplessness and getting lost.
and getting lost, and analyze where do you feel it in your body. I feel it in my, and fill up the blanks, okay. I feel it in my,
I feel it in my appendix.
in my,
Appendix.
I feel it in my appendix. And what is the number that you feel it at? 0 is like nothing, 10 is like intense. What is the number?
6.
I feel it at number 6
I feel it at number 6.
in my appendix.
My appendix.
And whatever it feels like, does it feel like a pressure or a knot, whatever. So you could just bring that to your awareness also. It feels like, what does it feel like in your case?
Feels like a pain.
It feels like a pain in my
Pain.
appendix,
Feels like a pain in my appendix.
and it is at number 6.
It is at number 6.
I am learning to make myself ready
I'm learning to make myself ready.
to get the message from this pain.
Get the message from this pain.
Yeah, so this is the 3 times that I did the tapping here, and I'm going to tap here. This diagnosis of autism,
This diagnosis of autism
it has shaken my entire world.
has shaken my entire world.
Life is so different.
Life is so different.
I don't know what lies in store ahead for me and my child.
I don't know what lies ahead of me for me and my child.
Life feels so uncertain.
Life feels so uncertain.
I feel so lost.
I feel so lost.
I'm just lost.
Just lost.
And I feel that in my body,
And in my body,
and I'm just lost.
I'm just lost.
Feeling lost
Feeling lost.
in my appendix.
I
Or
am
you label it wherever you're feeling it, okay? So the whosoever is listening to it. I'm feeling all lost and helpless.
feeling all lost and helpless.
I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do.
I don't know why it's happening to me.
I don't know why it's happening to me.
No one had it in my family.
I don't know what to do.
No one had a diagnosis of autism in my family.
No one had a diagnosis of autism in my family.
So why me?
Why me?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm learning to make peace
I'm learning to make peace
with this situation
with this situation,
and with this diagnosis.
with this diagnosis.
It is very difficult.
It is very difficult.
And I acknowledge
I acknowledge
and I allow myself
and I allow myself
to feel this pain,
to feel this pain,
to feel this helplessness.
feel this
I
helplessness.
allow it to wash over me.
I allow it to wash over me.
I allow it. I give myself the permission to feel it,
I give myself the permission to feel it,
because only when I acknowledge it
because only when I acknowledge it
and let it wash over me
and let it wash over me,
will I find the strength that lies within me.
then I find the strength that lies within me.
I have strength within me.
I have strength within me.
I have managed so many difficult situations in the past,
I have managed so many difficult situations in the past.
and I think I would do it this time also.
I think I will do it this time also.
I just have to trust in myself.
Just have to trust in myself.
I may be lost,
Maybe lost,
but I have always been divinely guided.
but I have always been divinely guided.
I choose to surrender to the higher self within me.
I choose to surrender to the higher self within me.
I choose to listen to my intuition.
Choose to listen to my intuition.
I choose to take it one step at a time.
Choose to take it one step at a time.
I choose to love my child the way he is,
I choose to love my child the way he is,
with or without the diagnosis.
with or without the diagnosis.
He's just my child.
Just my child.
I just love him or her
I just love him
or her.
or her.
And I will do anything that it takes
And I will do anything that it takes
to help him
to help him
express his full abilities.
express his full abilities.
There's a reason why he's born.
There's a reason why he's born.
There's a reason why he's chosen me.
There's a reason why he has chosen me.
I am open to finding the answers within me.
Trying and I'm open to find the answers within me.
I choose to take it one day at a time.
I choose to take it one day at a time.
I choose to love my child.
I choose to love my child.
I choose to believe in myself,
Believe in myself,
no matter how difficult the journey may seem like.
no matter how difficult the journey may seem like.
It may seem like I'm lost,
It may seem like that I'm lost,
but I have my intuition guiding me always.
but I have my intuition guiding me always.
And I choose to believe in it.
And I choose to believe in it.
I love my child.
I love my child.
I accept my child.
I accept my child.
I am learning to accept this situation.
I'm learning to accept the situation.
And if I find it difficult,
If I find it difficult,
I can tap again.
I can tap again.
I love myself.
I love myself.
I believe in myself.
I believe in myself.
I love my child.
I love my child.
I believe in my child.
I believe in my child.
And just take a nice deep breath in from your nose and out from your mouth. And one more deep breath in from your nose and out from your mouth. And if I ask you, what is the number? Is it still at 6? What is the change that you find in yourself?
Amazing. Gone. Zero perhaps.
Oh, that's so nice. Wonderful. And if we do one round of tapping, it doesn't mean, that we are out of it. Maybe we may need many more rounds. We just did a general round of tapping. Sometimes you may need specific to yourself, not to yourself, I mean to whoever who's doing it, because we may have our own specific issues that we want to first work upon. And those issues would trigger us into the present, if we are facing any kind of challenge in this present moment. So hope that was helpful.
I honestly told the number which is for me, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And sometimes in your case, it has gone from 6 to 0. Sometimes it may go to 7 or 8 or 9. That is also good, because there are other aspects coming up. You can tap again. Sometimes it goes only up to 4 and doesn't go below that. That is also okay. The aim is to not push yourself to go to 0. The aim is to just acknowledge and accept where we are at the moment and then flow with it. That's all.
again, being present with our bodies and our bodies just choose that time, that what max can we do, or what max can the environment support at that time.
Exactly,
And let's
exactly.
just believe in the universe.
Yeah.
Universe has set all the things for us in the right. So,
Mm.
Reena, we have come to the end of this lovely conversation, and I just don't want to go, and I just want to keep talking and talking to you, but
Mhm.
that's not what we can do right now. And I would like to thank you for really giving us so beautiful insights, and I'm sure that this is really going to help the audience immensely.
I'm sure, I'm sure. Thank you so much for having me. I also wanted to share that I'm also doing this 5-hour free seminar from April 6th to April 10th, and it's a free seminar. Anyone
Okay.
can join. So if there's anyone who you feel may benefit, or if anyone who's listening, you just have to register and join. It's free. It just has all information on whatever that I've learned in the last few years, and what are the things that you can do at home till you find a therapist, or while you're working with your therapist, what are the additional things that you can do at home.
Please share all the information with us, and we'll also see that as many as can join it and get benefit.
Sure. Thank you.